Hi, my name is Gio with GreenLight Consulting Services, and I will be your presenter today. Most companies don't realize the importance of both internal and external vulnerability scans and how they can identify and prevent exposure of your data to the dark web. Now ask yourself this: how many of your employees come to work every day and bring their own personal devices and connect to your company network? It could be cell phones, uh, it could be USB devices, a fob maybe, a memory device, a memory stick, something like that. Or better yet, how many new or old pieces of equipment exist on your network? They may be EOL, end of life, or ESL, end of service life, meaning there are no new security updates being offered, and because of this, your equipment is vulnerable. Now, based on GreenLight's many years of experience, we recommend performing a monthly vulnerability scan at the very least. Any of you that use a Windows PC can see how many times Microsoft releases new security updates, which is at least once a week, if not more. So in the upcoming slides, we're going to talk about that and much, much more. So let's get started. In the upcoming slides, we're going to talk in more detail about the threat landscape and why it's important to be proactive. The old saying, it's not if you will be hacked, but when, can be mitigated by using the proper cybersecurity tools on a regular basis. The Identity Theft Resource Center, ITRC, reported that in September of this year, data breaches had already surpassed the previous record high by 14%, with 733 total compromises affecting more than 66 million victims. As the year comes to an end, the total number of breaches is set to completely overshadow the previous annual high that was set in 2021, which was over 5,000 confirmed breaches in 16 different industries and 4 distinct world regions. As cyber criminals increasingly use sophisticated tactics and continue to disrupt organizations, cybersecurity is becoming a growing concern for businesses of any size. If there is money to be exploited by a hacker and that information is then sold to other hackers, they will continue their endeavor. Have you ever purchased or bidded on an item on eBay? Think about somebody selling your information on the eBay of the dark web. Does it exist, you may ask? The answer is yes. At a minimum, all information about your business has value to you as the business owner-operator and could be ransomed. Not only your business information, but you may also expose your customers' information as well. Here we are really talking about entry points to the network rather than threats that are already there. A good analogy would be a comparison to a house, like locking the front door before going to bed and posting a sign on the front door that says, "This premise is under Acme surveillance." Those are two things that will keep your house safe. If, on the other hand, though, you open a window on the ground floor to get a breeze while working and then forget to close it before going to bed, you've created an easy entry point for somebody to break into the property. Always keep an eye out for such entry points. In this case, it's your network. It could be poorly guarded, or personal identifiable information may be exposed. The barrier to entry for ransomware is low-hanging fruit. How low, you might ask? There's ransomware as a service that enables anyone to purchase a subscription to anything and everything they need to propagate attacks, whether they're experienced with the technology or not. That's what I mentioned about eBay on the dark web. They don't stop at just lists of usernames and passwords. You can bid on the tools without any technical skills. It's pretty scary, huh? Bad actors are also attracted to cybercrime because it's fairly easy and the rewards are high. We call them bad actors because hackers usually involve someone who is technically skilled. They have success selling data on the dark web because people do pay ransoms. Not all, but most. Ransomware thrives because there is no meaningful penalties and significant risks of legal action, and so much money is to be made with such a low barrier to entry. The reality is that there isn't a surefire way to prevent ransomware and other malicious attacks. Also, law enforcement organizations globally rarely have the time or resources to catch and hold these criminals accountable. So what can you do? Well, with regular vulnerability scanning, you can stay ahead of the issues proactively. The longer it takes to identify and address a vulnerability, the more severe the damage. That's why regular vulnerability scanning is so crucial. Not all vulnerability scannings are equal. Most are point in time, I call them occasional, which helps identify critical network vulnerabilities, but only during active scanning. With our service, based on our experience, we do regular monthly vulnerability scans, allowing you to identify and remediate these vulnerabilities. Being proactive, your quarterly penetration tests, which you provide to your customers or cyber insurance carriers, will be clean. The greatest proactive protection is monthly scanning. It's carried out on a monthly basis with software crawling your network in search of evolving new threats and vulnerabilities. When should you select monthly vulnerability scanning? If any of the above applies to you. All companies have software that is regularly updated and need to implement vulnerability scanning. For example, Microsoft patches at the very minimum monthly. The vulnerability management lifecycle identifies vulnerabilities, prioritizes assets, assesses risk via network scanning, reports on and remediates flaws, and verifies that the vulnerabilities have been addressed. In the discovery phase, we build an inventory of all your assets across the network and host details including operating systems, open ports or services to identify vulnerabilities. We also develop a network baseline to identify security vulnerabilities on a regular monthly automated schedule. In the prioritization phase, we categorize assets into groups or business units and assign a business value to asset groups based on how critical they are to the business operation. In the assessment phase, we determine baseline risk profile to eliminate risks based on asset criticality, vulnerability, threat, and asset classification. Now, these could be based on different regulatory requirements, whether they're SOC 2, whether they're CMMC, whether they're NLETS, which is law enforcement. So each of these may have different classifications. Most of them all follow the NIST standard, but some of them do deviate, like CJIS, California Criminal Justice System. Now, depending on your specific industry, we prioritize and address vulnerabilities in order of business risk based on your regulatory requirements. We establish controls and demonstrate progress. We conduct a follow-up audit on a quarterly basis. This is a pen test to ensure that all threats have been eliminated. Because you've done your proactive vulnerability scans and remediation, the quarterly pen test will come out clean, and you can provide that to your customers or any other regulatory body. Now is the time to harden your network against growing cybersecurity threats. Get monthly vulnerability scanning for your organization. Contact us for a no-obligation consultation. Thank you for watching the presentation today.